Hey, this is Warren Redlick. I'm here with Brian Wang from Next Big Future. Please check him out on nextbigfuture.com, Next Big Future on X, and wherever else you might find Next Big Future.
Right.
Brian and I just did a video talking about SpaceX. We're going to talk about something that I feel like not many people are talking about. xAI and X made a deal with Polymarket, which is a prediction market company. I think I know what that is, but I want Brian to explain it. Brian, let's start off with this. What is Polymarket?
Polymarket is a prediction slash betting market. So people can put up questions of saying who will win the presidential election, and then people can then bet on that, and then it sets on a certain price, kind of like the stock market, where you see whether stock will go up or down, and people then can make money on that, trying to get people to be better at predicting the future. And some of that can be like sports betting. That's a more traditional version of predicting who will win something and then making bets against that.
One of the important things here is somebody has to define what's the bet. So I keep
Right.
seeing there's a bet, will Tesla deploy a robo taxi service before the end of June? And
Yeah.
I think the betting actually right now is against Tesla doing that, even though we expect it to start within 24 hours from us recording this, which is
So it's all
June
it's all the
22nd.
details.
It's just to be clear, it's June 22nd here in Thailand. I think it's still June 21st where you are, but
Right.
it may be 24 hours, maybe 72 hours. We are expecting that Tesla will start its robo-taxi service within the next 72 hours, which would be well before June 30th.
Right.
And yet Polymarket's betting on this is no. So have
Right.
you looked at that bet or do you know what that's about?
These things are all settled by the details. So it's like what when I say X will happen, what specifically do I mean? Right. And that's the problem with many of these things is that it's a problem and also a feature in that you must be very precise about what you're meaning. So when they say the title of it is, will they start the robotaxi? It's like, well, if I have a safety person in the vehicle, it doesn't count. If they say, like I had made a question on one of my markets saying, okay, I don't care about remote monitoring. If there's no human driver driving, then I say that counts, and it has to be paid, and it has to be in
Wait,
Austin by
no
end of
human
June, right?
driving or no human in the driver's seat?
No human driving.
Okay.
So because again, that's the thing. Like the passenger could sit in the driver's seat, but if they're not doing anything, so you have to be specific about what in particular you're talking about. And I know that Polymarket bet on robotaxi has some terms in it that basically won't be fulfilled if what we expect to happen. Like I think the one that's screwing up that one is because it's invite only and it's not general public,
Hmm.
then they say it doesn't count, right?
Okay.
So if they don't take the invite off by June 30th, in 8 days, then it won't count, which is
Okay.
probably the case. They probably, yeah,
So the short story is somebody defines a bet. The
yeah,
Los Angeles Lakers will win the NBA championship, and currently that number is very low.
right.
I don't even know if the NBA championships are over or not. I'm out of the loop.
They're over. Yeah,
Okay. So, somebody just sets a bet the Los Angeles Lakers will win the NBA championship and people bet on it. They
yeah,
will win the championship or they won't win the championship. Or somebody makes a
right,
bet that Honda Motors will sell more than 2 million cars in 2026, right? I
right,
mean, it's an example of a bet.
right.
And then people bet money on, I think this will be true or this won't be true. And there's a price for the bet. Can you explain that? How does that pricing work?
There's a bid ask on a stock, right? So there's the stock price for Tesla is $320, right? But it goes up and down, right? Because okay, I don't think people don't think the stock's worth that much. Something bad is said by Elon, stock drops to 250. Some good stuff happens, it goes up to 400, right? So depending on the time of day, it's going up and down. And also, people could think, okay, um, LeBron won't be playing. The chance of them winning tonight it goes way down. Those kind of factors live can change the value of it. So then, based on the conditions, which are changing minute to minute, then and some things can be big, some can be small, some can be stable. You know, the price going price of whether you bet on it changes.
Now we have this situation where there's some sort of partnership formed between
Right.
Polymarket and xAI and X. I think
Right.
xAI owns X, but whatever. That's, X
Yeah.
is the social media platform and xAI is the AI company.
Mhm.
And I have a theory in my head about why this would be valuable for xAI, but I'm
Hmm.
curious what you think. What
Hmm.
is, I guess Polymarket is probably getting greater distribution of their platform on X. So more
Right.
people will see it, more people have the opportunity to play on Polymarket.
Yeah.
What do you see, other than maybe money, what do you see xAI getting out of this?
It's the basically it's about distributed, um, decentralized finance, right? DeFi, right? So Polymarket uses the crypto version of smart contracts for this thing. So it's better data, makes smarter AI, improve financial products, more users, even better data, right? That's the virtuous loop that we're looking at here. So why, so the data is important, the getting more reach gives you more data, but Elon says, you want AI to be one, unbiased, and also be good at predicting and getting answers, right? So if I can predict the future and know, okay, I can use it to calibrate my bias, right? Because if I'm always making a mistake predicting something, then I'm having a bias of some kind. It's like I'm trying to hit the bullseye, but I'm always going low to the right, right? So I need to adjust my sights. It means, I'm biased. I'm going one direction all the time, right? So this is data useful for that. So it's improving the AI, but also it improves the financial. So we're going to have X coming out with X payments, right?
Hmm.
Let me skip over some of this stuff. So if X payments will become a seamless on and off ramp. So from the real world finance stuff that we're used to, what they're going to come out with, as well as to the crypto finance stuff, they will X will become the place for both, right? And they will get some of the largest number of smart contracts via using Polymarket, because Polymarket, all their bets are in smart contracts. A lot more detail here. We'll have to go over that. Economic detail, smart contract composability. Um, okay, value effect, enhanced AI training, improving forecasting by integrating market signals with social data. So one, it's also an extension of news, right? So news and predicting the future, like the politics of, will whoever win the election. One, the people who want to answer that question are more engaged and have to do more research in order to get the correct answer. So that if you get more people interested in doing that, you will increase engagement and also improve your news service, right? By having better predictions. It's kind of like people watching the sports expert on ESPN talk about who's going to win, the NBA championships or NFL and that kind of stuff. They're all digging into that in order to get better at their bets.
Neural nets learn better by training on diverse data. And one of the
Yeah.
challenges of building a great neural net model and getting better at getting your AI better is getting more data. So
Hmm.
polymarket data is, in a sense, it's you're learning from human behavior. Like a lot of
Right.
what AI is doing is learning from human. You don't only want to learn from human behavior, you want to learn from other things, but human behavior is valuable data to learn from. And
Hmm.
Polymarket is generating a massive amount of data. So
Right.
you can train your AI on this. Like there's a constant hunt for how do we get more data? How do we get more data? And you can generate synthetic data. This is like a
Yeah.
hot thing now, and Elon has said they're doing it, and other
Yeah.
AI teams are generating synthetic data. But I think probably getting good, clean human data is here. And in Polymarket, you have a market where people are motivated to be correct. Polymarket is essentially trying to find truth.
Right.
If you
Future
want to,
truth.
if you want a truth-seeking AI, having humans who are trying to find truth and are financially incentivized to find truth
Right.
is probably a really good way of finding truth and training your AI. So it may be a very valuable data set to train your
Right.
AI. And I don't understand how you incorporate that data, but I
Hmm.
get it. I mean, we were talking about SpaceX in the previous video. I would think astronomy data. Could you train
Right.
your AI on astronomy data? Like, I don't know, maybe that's boring, maybe that's not useful. Physics experiments, you have running physics experiments and you're training your AI on, whatever's happening at CERN.
But I think it's pure science that you're getting there, and if you're able to drill down and have better astronomy, have better telescopes, and be able then to change your view of science. Like that's something that both Elon and Sam Altman talk about is, can we get to new physics? well, if I detect some funny motion of stars and galaxies in their orbits, then I can say, okay, that is showing something different about gravity. And so now we can refine our theories of gravity and then come up with new physics, right? Or something happened with the light of things. So you can get stuff from more data. You just have to, how am I looking at this? How am I interpreting it? And then this one, so fundamentally, it's the Polymarket, I think, the intersection of AI, um, predictions slash finance, and particularly crypto, and the crypto contracts, and being able to offer new services. So on the decentralized finance part of it, the big thing about decentralized finance is instead of banks, institutions giving it to you, one, you can lower the costs and increase the return to people. So if I have this digital manipulation of finances and payments I'm giving to you via X payments, they can put their money into treasuries and get, say, 4.5%, 5%, whatever that number is, which is more return than the credit card companies are
Right.
giving or the banks are giving to you, right? So that, the best credit card might give me 2.5% rewards. But if I can leave it directly with Treasury, I can get towards 5% or something like that. Or even if I have the stock market, do 10%. So just removing the middleman out of that thing can let you get to far higher returns. So that's one of the values of it. Less regulation, faster stuff. So
Polymarket, the biggest prediction market?
yes, they're the biggest prediction market. They have about 70% of the market.
Okay. And so then if they get supercharged by all of a sudden being on X, and now
Yeah.
there's, hundreds of millions of users who now
Mhm.
have access to Polymarket, they may like step up and become even larger.
Right. Yeah. They could become 10 times, 100 times larger, even gain towards the current xAI number of people. And then if xAI expands bigger because of Starlink that we discussed before,
Yeah.
then they can get even bigger.
For those of us who are following xAI and X, a lot of people that follow my channel and probably follow you are into Tesla. Um,
Mhm.
xAI, it's really hard to wrap your head around how big xAI could get. I think we see X could get big. Um, but X is within xAI now. So there's
Right.
really big potential here for xAI to chase ahead and get better data to train their models better. And I think that
Mhm.
fundamentally, Polymarket is truth-seeking data. So if you want to train a truthful AI, let me just ask you about that. This is something
Yeah.
I don't know if you have the answer to this question, but how do you build a truth-seeking AI? I don't know that
Right.
if you're training on human data and a lot of the human data is deliberately false or accidentally
Mhm.
false, I
Yeah.
don't know how you train your AI. I don't know that the LLM models incorporate that yet. So, obviously Elon wants to train Grok better so that
Right.
Grok is more truth seeking. And is Polymarket a solution to that? The solution to that? What do you think about that?
I think it's a part of the solution to it. So here we have the Polymarket technology flow. So we have the real world events, elections, sports, market, things are happening, right? They have news and data coming into it, and then they have the official results. By being able to, say, predict, and then you get the results and try and match up to that, you're always saying, I'm trying to predict, and I get the truth by getting the true total official results. And then I have these oracles which are verifying and then determining what what did happen, what is true, right? And then you have the contract related to it. So that if you don't look into say the contract part, but it's a form of accountability, right? Like if the election polls were all saying Trump's going to lose, he'll lose by 5%, then all those ones who are making that claim were less truthful than the ones who were saying, okay, Trump's going to win and he did win, kind of thing, right? So, or something's going to happen with a stock. So it's a form of accountability to have that. And by making this more robust, more news, more predictions, more attempts, more shots on goal to see what is true, then it's also a mechanism to, even if you weren't using Polymarket for the betting and for humans to predict, if the AI was generating synthetic data, the AI starts making a million times more predictions about what's happening and say, okay,
Mm,
it's I'm going to start generating all these predictions about what's going to happening, and then I'm going to predict them for the next day, over the next week, or next month. All this time, I'm getting loads more predictions, and then I'm seeing was I right, and then how was I right or wrong, right?
yeah.
Because and that's a form of accountability. It's like loads more questions to get answers to.
What I understand from the world of Tesla is FSD doesn't just, how does FSD learn, right? So what FSD does is it's actually predicting what is going to happen around it, and it's predicting what's going to happen with the car itself. And as the
Right.
car is driving down the road, it sees a pedestrian and it predicts the pedestrian is going to step into the crosswalk or predicts the pedestrian is not going to step in the crosswalk. It probably has a
Yeah.
more specific prediction. This is the path I think that pedestrian is going to follow. And if
Hmm.
the pedestrian's behavior diverges significantly from what the car predicted, it flags that
Hmm.
and it records 10-second clip and uploads that to the cloud to train for the future. And
Right.
when I talked to James Down about this a while, he's like, they're not just tracking one thing; they're predicting
Yeah.
like 1,000 things. Every
Right.
car is predicting 1,000 things a second, and
Right.
if something is off from the prediction, that's data from the real world that conflicts with the prediction, and you can upload that to the cloud, and you can train on the new data, and you can
Right.
make better predictions based on what you've seen. That when we talk about Polymarket, you're trying to predict what's going to happen with this event, and then you see whether you
Hmm.
got it wrong and why you got it wrong, and what did other intervening events happen that I didn't anticipate, or did I predict
Right.
some other intervening would happen that didn't happen? LeBron James doesn't play. Like I
Right.
initially predicted LeBron James was going to play in that game, and that led to my prediction of who's going to win the game or the probability of winning
Right.
the game. Now LeBron's out, that changes my prediction. But why did I get LeBron playing or not playing wrong? There's a lot you can think about there.
That's
So
right.
so I want to bring this back to Tesla though.
Mhm.
A lot of people are asking when are we going to get Grok in our cars? And it was this comical moment like a week ago. I'm driving in the car with my wife. I have a new Tesla Model Y. We don't have FSD here in Thailand, but I'm driving the car, and my wife asks me a question about something, and I will sometimes ask Grok, explain this concept in Thai to my wife.
Yeah.
Right? It might
Okay.
be like cognitive dissonance, right?
Yeah.
Here's the word cognitive dissonance. That's a word, that's a term she doesn't know in English, so she's learning her English. But like, explain this concept in Thai in 200 words, and I'll do that, and I'll let her read it. Like, imagine
Mhm.
you're in the car and you press the microphone button, say, "Hey, Grok, can you explain cognitive dissonance in my wife to Thai?" And it could be any kind of question. Like,
Mhm.
hey, Grok,
Right.
what are the price of eggs in Chicago today, or something like that. And
Right.
and to be able to have a conversation with your car while you're driving. So a lot of people feel like Tesla's going to put Grok in the car soon.
Right.
Um, do you think that behavior of humans asking Grok questions in the car
Hmm.
is going to be data that Grok can train on to get better in the future? Like Grok is going to have conversations with us in the car, and then maybe it's going to
Hmm.
predict what we're going to ask next, and then we ask something else. It's going to predict how we
Right.
respond. Like, is that
Yeah.
another potential source of data for
Yeah. I definitely think
human
so.
brain? Yeah,
Yeah. Making more predictions to again, it's how good was my planning? It's like a bunch of test cases of
yeah.
like, I'm going to plan to do whatever. I'm, predict what I'm going to have these people going to order for their meal. And then by getting it wrong, it's like, well, why? Do I not know them well enough? Is it just a certain amount of randomness that occurs and I will never get it right? That kind of thing. Or it can get to some distribution, right? To know it's going to be, chicken 50% of the time.
Well, the other thing is, I don't know to what extent people are sending bots in to ask Grok questions, but if you're in the car,
Yeah.
you actually have a human interacting with Grok if
Yeah.
it's the in-car app. Like
Mhm.
there's probably every AI has the problem of people are creating bots to interact with the AI, and that
Right.
generates odd data, but you have more reliable data if you have a human in a car asking a question because they're in the car and it's driving.
Right.
Right? Maybe the human isn't driving anymore, but
Well, I think oftentimes they can detect, and they're probably doing things to detect whether it's a bot asking them. Because actually, um, OpenAI, tried to close off their API to like DeepSeek or the other Chinese models because they were using that to, you can use a model to train up another model
Yeah, sure.
and rapidly teach it to be as
Yeah.
good. So they're doing stuff to prevent that. But on the other hand, this interaction of like a model training another model to make it smaller, faster, and more condensed, but still know everything, is a very useful thing. But then, as
Yeah.
you say, getting a lot of predictions, generating predictions is another form of testing and training that they can do.
Okay.
And they're already doing it for the driving, as you're saying.
So what's your prediction of when we see Grok in our cars?
I'm surprised it's right not already there. I thought it would have been there sooner. I'm thinking definitely before the end of the year. 3.5 hopefully releases in a month, so 30 to 60 days, and then a 3.5 with voice, should be definitely the one. 3.5 is supposed to be, yeah, Elon's saying a lot better than the other ones.
Yeah.
My prediction was it should be a lot better. So I would say over and under would be 90 days that it should be in the car.
And you would think they would want it in robotaxi.
Yes.
That would
Yeah.
be a
Definitely.
particularly important use cases in a robotaxi.
Yeah. And if I have a Grok in the car, the safety monitor that they have currently, I think the safety monitor, all they can say, because they're not in the driver's seat, they're in the passenger seat, they can just say, hey, pull over, safe word, Rhino,
No.
and do something. Then you can do the same thing by having a voice operated Grok to say, okay, I'm a passenger. I want to pull over because I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised it's not in there yet.
All right.
But I'm expecting it to be soon. And just saying that the Robinhood, one of the biggest new stock exchanges, also has um, prediction markets on there. So it is something where if you have a financial market exchanging stocks or bonds, that you're going to have these prediction, definitely money bending. It's like predictions, gambling, money predictions, free predictions. So there's that financial spectrum, non-financial spectrum of things, of value, because gambling has a certain value, but less than actual financial products. But creating new financial products using the crypto,
Yeah.
that is a bigger thing. So the crypto and the AI, those are the huge values for it.
Well, then I guess if you think about X becoming the everything app and you add payments and probably you
Mhm.
add some kind of shopping,
Yeah.
then you have a lot more human behavior to watch and learn
Hmm.
from and train on to train your LLM on.
Right,
I've
right.
actually been shocked that X doesn't have shopping. Like, how is there
Mhm.
not shop.x.com? And then let influencers promote products. Like, I create a
Right.
t-shirt that I want people to buy, and like, hey, you can buy my t-shirt here. I've got some other product, and then
Mhm.
X gets a cut, then I get a cut, whatever. I think,
Mhm.
there's some sort of referral shopping mechanism in there that could be valuable. But, in terms of training Grok,
Mhm.
the more human behavior you expose, the more genuine human behavior you expose it to, right? So if
Mhm.
somebody actually completes a transaction in a shopping move, or they complete a financial, maybe you have stock trading built into X,
Mhm.
which I think Elon wants to do.
Right.
All of that behavior becomes behavior you can train on. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, totally makes sense. The other thing I would say is that if the models, Grok 3.5, Grok 4 before the end of the year, Grok 5 early middle of the next year, that you'll have 50 times more compute on that. Those things should be solving programming in a big way. So all these things like why doesn't X and xAI have the video only page? Why doesn't it have all the payment stuff? The explosion of coding that should happen should mean all those features should definitely happen by the end of next year, by the middle of next year, because they'll have this certain surge of programming. If they're not loading up on getting their programming going 10 times, 100 times faster, then they're losing to OpenAI or Google Gemini.
Yeah, just for
So
those who don't know, as YouTubers, I personally would like X to be more of a video platform. I don't really love YouTube anymore. I
right,
prefer being on X. I think X is a freer speech platform, and I don't have to worry about what I say. And I would love for X to have a video, like at video.x.com or something like that, so that a homepage for videos. Because right now you have a button on iPhone you can click to watch videos. but it's
Hmm.
not a true, I want a homepage where, maybe I have a choice of videos I can watch. I've got channels I subscribe to. And then as a YouTuber or as a content creator, to me, that's a much better platform. And then maybe we get better analytics about how people are watching our videos and we figure out how our videos are monetizing. That's a small thing for
Right.
most users, but
Yeah.
for content creators, it matters. And if you provide a better service for content creators, you get more content creators, you get more content.
Right. Right.
I almost think like the data on how people watch your videos might be something you can train xAI on. There's like
Yeah,
it's one
definitely.
of the challenges, like, well, how many people are going to watch this video and how long are they going to watch it and when are they going to drop off? I almost wonder if that's a useful thing to know.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is useful to know, and clearly it is possible to know because I think Mr. Beast has trained himself
Yeah,
as
yeah.
a human expert to know, second by second what's going to get people's attention. So it's possible to know.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
okay,
Brian, thank you very much. I
thank
think
you.
we'll wrap this up here. I'm going to stop. So,
Yeah,
first of all, thanks everybody for watching. Please check out Brian on Next Big Future. And Brian, we will talk again soon.